been 16 months since the Surfside condo collapse. You remember, 98 people died, middle of the night. Nobody knew why. We were all standing down there trying to figure it out. The firefighters desperately trying to find people alive, right? It was all over the place until it wasn't, right? Then what happened? Well, a lot and nothing. There are still families, because this isn't just about money, okay? This is about truth, this is about the future. And they are putting up new condos now. We've never even heard a final word, a final finding on why it collapsed. Think about that. Get the old me off the screen. Here's the new me. We don't even know yet what the real reason was. How can you start building again when you haven't given the community satisfaction about what happened the last time? All right, let's discuss. We have somebody who understands the political and governmental side, and we have someone who understands all too well the pain of loss and the fears about going up again with new buildings. Former Surfside Commissioner Eliana Salzhauer, who has not given up in her pursuit for justice for the victims or for the safety of everybody going forward. And Martin Langesfeld, who lost his sister and brother-in-law in the collapse. Thank you both. Brother, I'm sorry about your loss. And I respect you trying to put purpose to pain here. First, what matters most? Tell me about who you lost.
Unfortunately, June 24th, I lost my beautiful sister, Nikki, 26 years old, and her husband, Louis Odovnik, 28 years old, in a place they called home, the place they felt the safest. At 1:20 in the morning, they looked up at the roof. There's proof that they were awake when this happened, and they saw the roof collapse. You know, they put this land up on the market for sale before I retrieved my entire sister.
You mean that they were ready to move forward before you?
The land was on the market for sale before we could have the funeral.
And what does that mean to you?
They don't care. Like you said, once the cameras left, every single politician left.
And they just started moving forward.
Yep, like if nothing happened.
And obviously, you guys are working together to make sure that there's attention, but you want accountability as well because you understand the process, Eliana, from the inside. What happened?
This is a case study on nothing stopping the development machine in South Florida. This is about greed. From day one, this was about turning that piece of property over to the next developer. They didn't stop. They didn't stop to care or to make it a memorial. The families desperately wanted a memorial, and the judge took it off the table from the get-go. He said, this is not a memorial, it's for sale. It's $120 million. And then he rushed it through. He rushed the sale through for the whole year. The families got $1 billion. They could have put the money together and bought that land, but they sold it. They sold the land out from under them. And now Martin's got to go there with his hands out, begging for a couple of feet of space for a memorial for his sister. 98 people died. This should be a memorial. It shouldn't even, it's the right thing to do.
There wound up being payouts, and part of that was that there would be money available because the lawyers were working pro bono. What did you find out?
Let me tell you, pro bono
means
is
for
baloney.
free, right?
Yeah, pro bono has a, as a lawyer, it has a definition. It means for free, okay? Not in this case. In this case, pro bono to this judge in South Florida means $65 million, okay? Those lawyers walked away with more money than the survivors. These lawyers got their third or fourth home, their second yacht, before some of these people who lost everything even have a place to live. I know people that have been paying their mortgage on an apartment that doesn't exist, that had to move in with family members, that got half the value of their apartment. Half the value. They had an apartment worth $1 million when it collapsed. They were given $400,000 and some 50 grand for their pain and suffering and said, bye-bye. And the lawyers, they went home with $65 million. And that is what's wrong with America. And that's what's wrong with the legal system.
You know, I have quite a different viewpoint. They did go into this pro bono. I am not against them at all, getting paid. But I am against them getting a bonus on behalf of so many people who lost their lives in a place they called home. I do not think they should get a bonus at all, and especially the victims like myself, my family, having to pay for the fees. The government should step in.
It's money that could have gone to you that is going to them.
To all the families.
Right. And what matters to you? What do you want to happen?
A memorial needs to go on that site. It's the only reason the developers can look after their shareholders in the first place. We've seen it in 9/11. I've been working with Monica Eichen, who lost her husband in 9/11. She made 9/11 the memorial happen. It's happened before. There's absolutely no excuse to not respect the land where so many died.
You know the excuse. The excuse is, I'm afraid as the new developer that people won't want to live here if there's a memorial of what happened in the last building.
Then they shouldn't purchase there in the first place.
But if they don't have to do the memorial, look, I know you know all this already, but they don't want it there because it's a reminder that may chill sales.
Of course, it affects their bottom line.
And look, that would be fine if they did something respectful in a way that mattered to the parents and the families, and gave clarity as to why it happened. Because I know for you and for so many who lost people, putting purpose to pain means it never happens again. We learned something here. It'll be better now. And you're saying, Eliana, we don't know that. We don't know.
We have no answers, and NIST is years away from having answers. And our own, the town of Surfside hired someone, our own investigator, and he doesn't have answers either. He was given the runaround. It took so long for him to even get access to the site, to get access to everything. He doesn't have an answer yet. And yet, they're continuing construction in our town as if this never occurred.
You don't accept the answer of, well, there was work at the other building and the vibration shook this building and this building had some weak structural issues and it came down.
And that's what's going on right now, though. We have other old buildings in town and new buildings going up right next to it, shaking their buildings. We are doing exactly the same thing, and we're going to see the same outcome. And we're going to pretend that we didn't see it coming, and we know that this is going to happen again. And they keep going, not just too close to the building, they're going up against the property line underground. They're putting subterranean garages it's a bathtub there. If you look at the site now, it's full of water all the time. Okay, that entire area was an area where you shouldn't be having underground parking. But they rezone it, they call it Zone X, and now they can do whatever they want. And they build it and they walk away. I have friends that have moved out of their apartments because they can't sleep at night, knowing that they could be next.
We're still getting phone calls to this day that they're finding human remains. Full bodies were not found. And the rubble, that's what they call the rubble, is sitting outside, decaying through hurricanes, through everything. It has no roof, it has no shelter. This is being treated as a joke. And the country's gonna wake up again, as she said, when it happens again.
God forbid.
And this was a settlement. So settlement means nobody took responsibility.
That's right.
Nobody. And there was no evidence brought. There was no discovery. There was none of that. There was just, here's your money, keep quiet, go away.
But here's the thing. We don't have to go away. I'm always a phone call away for both of you. We've spoken before. As you learn things, you let me know, and we'll stay on it until we get the answers that are demanded.
Politicians who showed up with their thoughts and prayers need to follow through. And they need to help us get a memorial on that site.
Listen, they're all welcome to come on. The new development team, you have a different feeling about this?
Governor Ron DeSantis needs to step in and do what he promised.
The governor is welcome here all the time. I'm sure as people are watching the show. And we'll get you answers. We'll get you satisfaction because that's the job.
Thank you, Chris.
God bless. Be well. Thank you very much,
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Eliana Salzhauer and Martin Langesfeld. We'll stay with them.